Today, we witnessed history being made in the US, and what happened is we are witnessing stablecoins becoming a big piece of the US financial system. This is something that we can't overlook. It's something that we can't ignore, and it's something that's going to make a lot of these utility-based networks extremely valuable because stablecoins will live on them. They're not just going to live on them, though. They're going to be utilized around DeFi protocols, around institutional DeFi initiatives, borrowing, lending, you name it. And today was a historical day for not just stablecoins, but for the entire market. Now, I mentioned earlier yesterday that today was going to be a big day, okay? And it was. Now, number one, let's actually start off with stablecoins because they just continue to grow. In fact, we are nearing the $3 trillion mark for monthly transfer volume, up 29.10% in the last 30 days. The market cap is almost at $240 billion. The monthly active addresses is up 14%. It just hit 30 million. And the holders in general is almost at 170 million. When it comes to the overall stablecoin market, this is becoming far too big for anyone to ignore. And it's the number one reason why I keep trying to tell everyone that if you're not focused on the networks in which these stablecoins are issued out on, you are missing a big target. Now, you could actually look on RWA.xyz and come here to this networks tab under top entities, and you can see which networks actually dominate stablecoins. Now, you might be noticing something, and you might be saying, well, Nick, the XRP ledger's not there. And no, it's not. Which is why I said you have to focus on the networks in which these stablecoins are issued out on. But you also have to remember that a lot of these networks, stablecoins were living on prior to 2025, prior to 2024. I mean, Ethereum had stablecoins on it for years and years now. But the XRP ledger is starting to grow. And it is starting to have a lot more stablecoins issued out on it. In fact, the stablecoin market cap on the XRP ledger is up 31.31% from 30 days. Also, RWA value up 30, almost 5%, 157 million. And if we actually look right now, there's only one stablecoin on the XRP ledger on RWA.xyz. We know that there is about 5 or 6 stablecoins coming to the XRP ledger. We're just getting started here. And by the way, in terms of actual stablecoins, we know RLUSD has been rising. We're at about $37.4 million. And if we actually look, there's over 29,000 plus holders of RLUSD on the XRP ledger. RLUSD itself is becoming extremely popular. We're now over 377 million, up 32% in the last 30 days. The monthly transfer volume is now over almost $3 billion, up 43% in the last 30 days. And on top of that, this is actually not correct. The total amount is over 405 million RLUSD. So now RLUSD, if we're actually looking at USD stablecoins, RLUSD is starting to rise in the ranks. We're getting closer to flipping some of these other prominent stablecoins. I'm very excited about the future for RLUSD. And what happened today is really going to unlock this entire market. Now, when we think about that, what happened today? Well, the Genius Act passed in a monumental vote, paving the way for regulated stablecoins in the US. Scott Bessent did say recent reporting projects that stablecoins could grow into a $3.7 trillion market by the end of the decade. That's only in 5 years. Guess what? 3.7 trillion compared to where stablecoins are today at almost 4 billion. That is a massive amount of growth. That scenario becomes more likely with passage of the Genius Act. A thriving stablecoin ecosystem will drive demand from the private sector for US treasuries which back stablecoins. This newfound demand could lower government borrowing costs and help rein in the national debt. It could also on-ramp millions of new users across the globe to the dollar-based digital asset economy. It's a win-win-win for everyone involved. The private sector, the treasury, the consumers. These are the fruits of smart pro-innovation legislation. I think everyone is really overlooking just how bullish this actually is. It's not like when we think about this, all right, this is coming from the United States Secretary of the Treasury telling us that the US is 100%, in fact, 110% on board to make sure that stablecoins, specifically USD stablecoins, are as successful as possible. And it's clear by this statement here that it's driving demand for US treasuries, it's going to lower government borrowing costs, and it's going to help rein in national debt. These are telling us that the US is about to go all in on USD stablecoins. I don't think that I need to tell you guys that outside of USDC, RLUSD is basically the only regulated USD denominated stablecoin that actually is fully transparent and fully compliant and has a New York Department of Financial Services approval. Tether is not there because it's an offshore stablecoin. This is why it's so bullish for RLUSD, for Ripple, and of course for XRP. And we did get a big update from Bill Hagerty as well today. On a bipartisan basis, the Senate passed its first piece of major legislation this Congress with my bill, the Genius Act. With Genius, the United States is one step closer to becoming the crypto capital of the world. The Genius Act establishes the first ever pro-growth regulatory framework for payment stablecoins. This bill will cement U.S. dollar dominance, protect customers, increase demand for U.S. treasuries, and ensure that innovation in the digital asset space is in the hands of the United States of America, not our adversaries. With Genius, the value of stablecoins will be pegged to the U.S. dollar and backed one-to-one by cash or short-term U.S. treasuries. By combining the dollar's advantages with the speed and efficiency of blockchain technology, the Genius Act facilitates TradFi's adoption of crypto and ushers in a new generation in payment processing. The prospect of faster and cheaper payments will have far-reaching implications for our financial system. Once the Genius Act is law, corporations, small businesses, and individuals will be able to settle payments nearly instantaneously rather than wait for days or weeks and accrue the fees that go with it. Put simply, stablecoins are a paradigm-shifting development that can bring our payment system into the 21st century. This legislation establishes procedures for issuing stablecoins, designates clear rules for federal and state regulators, implements standards for consumer protection, and includes strong safeguards to deter illicit activity. Projections show that with the passage of Genius, stablecoin issuers could become the world's largest holders of U.S. treasuries by 2030. Such an outcome would shore up our fiscal resilience and cement the US dollar's status as the global reserve currency. Yeah, this is a huge day. A huge day not just for stablecoins and for crypto, but also for the US to finally open the doors and embrace this space like this. We are now witnessing crypto become an intricate piece of the financial system in the US. The Blockchain Association said today is a landmark moment for the US digital asset industry. If we actually look at this, we have the Senate's passage of the Genius Act is a landmark moment for the future of the U.S. financial and technological leadership. By advancing bipartisan stablecoin legislation, the Senate has taken a critical step towards providing the legal and regulatory clarity needed to foster responsible innovation and protect consumers. This is a win for American developers, entrepreneurs, and millions of people who believe in our promise of blockchain technology and the strength of the U.S. dollar in the digital age. We commend lawmakers on both sides of the aisle for their leadership and urge continued collaboration to build a comprehensive regulatory framework that keeps the U.S. at the forefront of global innovation. Jeremy Allaire CEO and co-founder of Circle, said, "History is being made as the U.S. Senate passes the Genius Act, taking us one step closer to breakthrough legislation being signed into law that will drive U.S. economic and national competitiveness for decades to come." And of course, yes, Brad Garlinghouse did say, for years, crypto companies have been calling on Congress to pass crypto legislation and set rules of the road. This is the first major financial bill since Dodd-Frank, the first crypto bill to pass in the Senate, which now moves to the House. A truly historic moment. And yes, years from now, I want you guys to understand that crypto, today when we talk about crypto, whenever somebody hears crypto, they think completely different thoughts about crypto compared to those that, like us, for example, that are in crypto every single day. We are going to hear about crypto, read about crypto, learn about crypto in years from now on exactly why it is so disruptive. And, right now we're still in the early stages of it, but we are going to see crypto everywhere. The entire financial system as we know it is changing. And crypto, stablecoins, digital assets, digital currencies, the actual underlying networks, it's all a part of the entire system. This is how we get there, right? The entire process of, regulation, legislation, all that. These are the key steps in order to have all of that become a reality. Going forward, everything's going to accelerate. And yes, Ripple, RLUSD, the XRP ledger, it will all be a big piece of this. I just talked about this the other day, right? Like USDC just got released onto the XRP ledger as well. So what's ever good for USDC, what's ever good for RLUSD is also very good for the XRP ledger. So the fact that the stablecoin market is now being embraced and opened up in the US, imagine what this does for networks like the XRP ledger that's now getting the EVM sidechain, which is going to bridge all the stablecoins over from Ethereum into it. You're going to see institutional and DeFi initiatives launching on the XRP ledger. Stablecoin initiatives are going to explode on the XRP ledger. Guys, this is a historic moment for these networks, for this space, for stablecoins. I'm very excited about this. And also, we saw over here from Ryan Sean Adams, we have Genius stablecoin bill just passed in the Senate. The US is creating a $3.0 programmable on-chain one-to-one cash, clear rules, big acceleration. Next up, the House, then Trump signs bullish understatement. The US will onboard the world to crypto. And yeah, that's exactly why this is such a bullish moment, because this is going to open up the entire crypto space to the US. But it's not just the US. It's also the world. We are going to see digital dollars flood the globe. This is a huge moment, and I want you guys to remember it, because this is the moment that changes everything. And on top of that, we do have over here from Smoke Dog, the Genius Act passed document reveals what it means for RLUSD and XRP. RLUSD gains credibility. The new law requires stablecoins to meet strict reserve and audit standards. RLUSD is expected to comply, making it more attractive to institutions. XRP utility increases. RLUSD runs on the XRP ledger. Every transaction burns a small amount of XRP, reducing supply. As RLUSD adoption grows, so does demand for XRP. Regulatory clarity for XRP, while XRP isn't a stablecoin operating within a regulated system, will strengthen its case as a utility token. Better position versus CBDCs. With clear rules now in place, RLUSD and XRP can compete more directly with central bank digital currencies for institutional use. This is all documented below as well. And here we actually have in this document, let me actually open it up in a new tab. Impact on RLUSD and XRP. While the Genius Act is designed to regulate stablecoins, its implications extend to XRP. This is due to Ripple's USD-backed stablecoin RLUSD, which operates on the XRP ledger. Regulatory compliance could enhance RLUSD's credibility, potentially driving increased institutional adoption, increased RLUSD transactions, and XRP utility. Since RLUSD transactions occur on the XRP ledger, their adoption could lead to heightened demand for XRP. Additionally, as RLUSD gains traction in cross-border payments and remittances, XRP could play a vital role as a bridge currency for liquidity provision. Regulatory clarity for XRP. If the Act sets a precedent for digital asset classification and oversight, it may offer a clearer pathway for XRP to be recognized as a utility token. Now, I know that you guys can't see this on the bottom, but we have the Act by formalizing stablecoin regulation could level the playing field between stablecoins and CBDCs making it easier for financial institutions to integrate RLUSD and XRP into their payment infrastructures without regulatory ambiguity. So yeah, when we think about what this does for XRP, for RLUSD, and even for Ripple, this is opening the door for so much, not just credibility, not just utility, not just, regulatory clarity, but it also helps institutions truly tap in and utilize these specific pieces. What's crazy about all of this, though, it's not just about RLUSD. It's also about all of the other stablecoins that are now living on the XRP ledger. We already know USDC just came to the XRP ledger. This is that big moment. This is going to, we're going to come back to the Genius Act a few months from now, maybe even a year or two from now as well, and say this was the moment, because going forward, stablecoins are going to skyrocket in demand, in use, and in value and volume. So now is the number, this is the best time to lock in and study what's happening here. Because going forward, crypto is just going to be an upward game of adoption, and tokenization value is also going to skyrocket. Stablecoins are going to skyrocket. Use around stablecoins is going to skyrocket. And that's all going to lead back to these networks that these stablecoins are, really living on, also skyrocketing in use, in value, in volume, which also impacts the underlying gas token, XRP, could be HBAR, could be any of them. And that's going to impact the value in a very positive way. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, Nick, thanks for watching. Peace out.